Judge, isn't it a great thing to learn about new species coming from our own universe, right? We share the same universe and we should be able to learn and interact with them the same way we interact with our own species. Isn't it a great way to spend your time and actually really study these species? If you want to study these other species from our own universe, then please vote for the proposition side of today's debate. Judge, today as we will be debating on the motion that assuming aliens exist, this House believes that we should try to contact them. Today, I'm very proud to be on the proposition side of today's House. Few things in my speech, right? First, I'll be framing today's debate and giving you our team's stance and standards, and second, providing our team's first substantive argument, right? So now moving on to a simple framework, right? So Josh, what does our world look like? We think that society is able to adapt and still be very function well when we have these new alien species contacted, right? We think that society is not gonna freak out and society is gonna still be able to function. And yes, we accept the fact that they're gonna be freaked out the first few months first few weeks that they meet these new species, but still I think that society is going to be able to adapt and actually understand these new species, right? Now moving on to our team's burden. Judge, our burden is to prove that no matter at what cost, humans should be able to, to learn about new species and actually study them. It will be a very fun experience since for them, the other aliens, we're also aliens to them, right? Because since they've never met us. And Judge, note the fact that we're not forcing these scientists to contact them, right? Judge, we're just trying to say that, oh, it will be better for the governments if you are actually going to be contacting them, right? So therefore, this is our framing. Now moving on to our team's first main argument, which is that finding new species is actually beneficial, right? First of all, we are able to study them, actually gain more knowledge. Just 3 layers here why gaining knowledge is good, right? Gaining knowledge is good because these scientists are able to learn new things and actually learn what other species do in their normal lives, right? This is very beneficial because humans, as I already said, they can adapt and actually learn. I'll take it later. Uh, People are actually able to adapt and actually learn from these things. This is very beneficial because because learning new things is a very good way for humans to gain more knowledge, right? And also these scientists can also maybe write books and articles about these new things, right? And second of all, governments can better technologies to actually talk with these species, right? Why is this beneficial? Because as we all know, once we start contacting these species, right, these scientists will not be able to speak or talk with these new species, right? So therefore, I think that governments should be able to invest and develop these better technologies. I'll take it after I finish this. And which governments can actually develop better technologies, and these better technologies can be incorporated with companies called NASA and SpaceX. And yes, your POI.
Is gaining knowledge worth the risk of getting into a war with unknown alien forces?
I think that if governments and human society find the correct method to actually talk with these species, then I think that won't really be a big problem, right? And moving on, continuing, right? I think that companies like NASA and Elon Musk's SpaceX should be involved with this because they are companies who actually know about space and they spend their whole career working on in these outer universe, right? So I think that this is going to be very beneficial, right? And Judge, even if it takes a lot of money, it takes a lot of money and effort, right? I think that scientists will be very glad and happy to study these species, even at the highest cost, which they're gonna spend a lot of money, right? And as I already said earlier, this is gonna allow them to gain more information about the species, right? And George, also, and even if maybe in the future, right? Maybe aliens appearing in our normal days is just gonna be a normal thing, right? It just depends. It's just gonna be a problem where either we communicate with them well, right? The main thing here, Judge, I'm trying to say is communication, right? If we actually communicate with them well, we're then able to talk with them and communicate so that we can like create better relationships, right? And even if it takes a lot of money, I think that the trade-off is worth it, right? And George, thirdly, in the worst case scenario, right? Maybe people are just gonna be scared, and they're just gonna like freak out, right? But I think that this is gonna be like a minority problem, right? Since I think this is just gonna be a minor problem since people are able to adapt and like work with them well. In another worst case scenario, we just don't find the aliens, right? But this is this is actually very magnitude of this happening is very high, but I think that this won't be a very big problem since governments are willing to incorporate like the technology, and they're willing to incorporate the technology of communicating and actually talking with these species, right? So I think that these species later, I'll take it after. These species when we actually no, I can't take it after because it's almost a 6 minute point. So therefore, I think that these species, if we actually connect and communicate with them, it's actually going to be a very good thing. And just now moving on to the impacts, right? What are the impacts of this, right? The impacts of this is very high because, as I consistently stated over and over again, we're able to gain knowledge and foster the relationship between two different species, and they're coming together in a big group, right? I think that, yeah, my opponents might say that, oh, they might have like problems. But as I already answered in the POI, as my opponents said, I think that if humans are able to develop the right method of communicating, I think like conflicts won't happen that consistent. So Judge, if you want to vote for a world where people are actually willing to study and see new species, then please vote for the proposition side of today's house. Thank you for listening.
Okay, in my speech, I'll be going over refutations to be the opponents, then moving on to our arguments, and finally doing the impact comparisons. Okay, let's move on to the refutations. The number one thing I want to refute them is they can adapt and they're able to function as society with aliens. Number one, I deny their argument because I don't think they can really prove that the aliens are 100% friendly, right? The opponents cannot say, okay, we're going to contact with the aliens because they're friendly. I'm not sure how he can be sure that aliens are friendly. And number two, we believe that we as human beings should preserve the identity of human beings in this world, right? So, for example, this is a very traditional for example, culture, and then when like the high-tech world comes here, and then your tradition is gone because like the high-tech rules over your land, right? So we should not let, for example, the aliens, for example, rule over our land and then like make our culture and traditions gone, right? We should preserve the identity as human beings. Number two refutation is that they tell you that we can learn a lot of new things. However, we believe that they're putting the sorry, I'll take that later. So I'm not sure how they are really they're really confident that we could put the risk of the whole Earth into learning new things, right? And also we believe there's also much safer ways to learn new things about the aliens. For example, we really do not need to like contact them. However, we can learn about them. For example, their UFO landing on our Earth, we can surely learn about that, right? Or also we can use telescopes or other high-tech things to learn about the aliens. However, we do not need to directly contact them. Okay, what's your POI?
As I already said in my speech earlier, that if humans develop the right way to actually communicate with these species, then there won't actually be a conflict. So I don't get why you're saying that there will be a conflict.
Okay, that's directly what I'm going to refute, right? You told us that we're going to develop a right method. So number one, I want to challenge what's your right method. And number two, like how can you find the right method, right? For example, if this alien species just wants to attack Earth because it's very developed, maybe it's 10 times more developed than human beings, how can you be sure you can find the right method to actually be friendly with them, be friends, right? I'm not sure how you can find the right method. Last refutation, they tell you that the worst case scenario for the government side is that people are scared. I think the worst case scenario on the government side is that the whole Earth has been destroyed because of you're contacting the advanced alien society, and then the alien society comes to attack you, and then your whole world is just like destroyed, right? I think the worst case scenario is not people scared. let's move on to our arguments. Our first argument is that we don't know the aliens' intentions, right? Which is unknown notations by the aliens. So when you're interacting and contacting to the aliens, you don't actually know what's their intentions, right? You don't know if they want to help you, if they want to attack you, if they want to like dominate your land or something, right? So when the alien species is like 10 more times developed than you, then you could probably lose your land, right? You could probably lose your life. Like the whole world might end up in the aliens' hands, right? So you don't know the aliens' intentions. So I think we should not contact them because you're putting the whole Earth into potential risk if you're contacting with this unknown alien species. Number two, we believe that if you're contacting with them, there's a high possibility of war. When the alien species is more advanced than you, they'll probably try to attack you and get your land and your resources. When you're developed than them, maybe probably the Earth people want to attack the aliens to get more species, to get more resources and their land as well, right? So this will end up in a very bad situation because you don't know who is going to attack who. But anyways, one side will probably end up in war and end up in death or even extinction, right? Which we don't want to happen. Number three, we believe that even if we do not directly contact with them, we can still learn about them and do research. So, for example, as my example, when the UFO, that aliens UFO landed on our Earth, we could probably learn about it. Or also, we can use very good technology to use, for example, telescopes and stuff to learn about their spaceships, etc., etc. Okay, what's your POI?
Isn't the possibility of having UFOs land on your planet really low? So how can you learn about them without so many UFOs landing on your planet? Therefore your argument doesn't stand.
Okay, so I'm only giving example, right? I'm just saying, yes, I agree with landing a UFO on Earth isn't a really big possibility. However, we can develop our own technologies and use telescope and spaceships to learn about them, right? However, I believe even this is better than yours to directly in contact with them and putting the whole Earth into potential risk. Number four argument, which is preserving the identity as humans. So let's just suppose that the aliens are really friendly and like they wanted to be friends with us, and then probably some of them moved to our Earth to live, and then they made like their kids on Earth, right? And then like we have to live with them. Then like we're probably losing our identity as humans, right? Because we are like working with them, living with them, eating with them, everything, right? So our Earth has turned into like a world of like two main species, and then we will going to probably lose some of our traditions, some cultures, and learn about them, right? So there's, for example, like when Chinese people is celebrating, for example, the Valentine's, I'm sorry. So when Chinese people are, for example, celebrating Valentine's Day, they probably have forgotten the Double Seventh festival, which is a traditional festival. That is going to happen with like the aliens are moving onto Earth, or we as humans moving onto their planet, just even if they're friendly. Okay, moving on to some impact comparisons, right? Let's look at what the government side has provided with you. The pro side cannot suppose the aliens are friendly. We can find the right method because they have not proven what's the method, right? I don't see what's their method, so we cannot suppose that there's not going to be any conflict with the aliens, right? So that's number one logic fallacy. Number two, we believe that the pro side is putting the Earth into potential risk, right? They're risking destroying the Earth to development. However, look at the concept, right? Number one, maybe we cannot. Let's just suppose that aliens are friendly on the government side, right? Probably they can gain a lot of like development. However, on the concept, we can still develop, and also we're not putting the Earth into potential risk. Also, we can preserve the identity as human beings, and thus we believe that we're bringing out the win-win situation when the government side is trying to is putting our Earth into potential risk, which is not worth it, and thus we negate. Thank you.
So, Judge, imagine a world where humans and aliens live in harmony that could have a communication with each other and develop together frequently and fluently. So that is a world for us. And if you want that world, then please vote for the government side. So, Judge, a few things that I will do in my speech, right? So first, I'll provide some rebuttals to our opponent's arguments, and then rebut the first speaker of our side prime minister's point, and at least provide uh, our group's second and third substantive argument. So, Judge, first about the rebuttals. Our opponents have said that we could not risk our lives and the Earth people's lives to do the communication and communicate with the aliens outside of our universe or outside Earth. And Judge, I think that they are always say about danger and all they'll say about how the risks are and the things that are bad for we human beings. And they also said that we should not contact them and uh, and not communicate with them. So, Judge, some reasons that this is not true. So, number one, even if there is risk for us, isn't it better for us to take the uh, opportunity to communicate with the aliens and let us know more about the universe and learn the mysteries of this world more? And
Why?
isn't it better for our develop? Sorry, I'll take it later. And then uh, they also number two, we also think that apart from the risk problem, we also think that aliens have a lot of things that we could learn from, and they could learn from us as well. So if we like learn their religions and they learn our cultures and we cooperate with each other, then of course it will be a better world for all of us. And yes, your POI.
So is it worth it, the risk to destroy the Earth and develop?
We're not saying that we're destroying the Earth just because what you said that the aliens will come and destroy us. And that is of course not true because uh even if they will come and destroy it, there are still many possibilities and opportunities that we should take. And they're so easy to claim that we should not just not accept the offer from and the opportunities of discovering this universe. And then as the rebuttals are over, I will continue on to the rebuttals, rebuildings. So the first speaker of our side has said that we could learn new things and develop better technologies. And of course, this is true because when we learn new things, that we could have a better understanding of our world just in my rebuttals. And also, if we develop better technology with the aliens, then the world will become more and more developed, and of course, we will reach a good harmony between us and the aliens. So, without further ado, I will move on to our arguments. So first of all, the reason why human beings search for extraterrestrial life is because human beings want to understand the mystery of human origin and life in the universe, as I have said in my rebuttal. And when extraterrestrial life appears, human beings should try to contact them. Contact extraterrestrial life is undoubtedly the most direct way for human beings to understand the mystery of life in the universe. Our second argument is that, secondly, although it is the information age and the information technology is developing rapidly, human knowledge of many outer space explorations is extremely limited, and no one can argue that on that, right? And and many scientists have said that the development of basic physics also came to a standstill. And at this time, aliens were found to be even simple life. And this would help human bioscience, neuroscience, astrophysics, and physics
POI.
to be more. Sorry, later. And in addition, with the continuous development of the human science and technology, the demand for the resources is also increasing. We all understand that, of course, like for one day, the resources of the solar system, of course, would not be able to meet the needs of human development because we know that we are using some of the non recyclist things. For example, coal oil that now is a large amount. But what about over 100 years or 200 years? Of course, it will get the number of this will decrease and decrease. And and how will the future generations survive? And of course, if we want the generation to survive, we must uh,
PR.
provide the existence of aliens undoubtedly gives human beings a chance. Sorry, rejected. We should go to contact them, and the understanding of alien civilization existence and the dialogue with aliens will help human beings to find a new home. And furthermore, the existence, like aliens, humans, or other whatever species that we have, cannot be regarded as non-existence. Like the living things or the things that are on this world is we could not regard it as non-existence. And our point of view is to confirm that the existence of aliens on the basis of whether to talk. Obviously, we cannot, where things that already exist does not exist. Therefore, humans need to talk with aliens. So, as the statements and arguments and rebuttals, rebuttions that I have provided,
POI.
sorry, rejected. Our side on the motion, assuming aliens exist, this house believes that we should try to contact them. We're very proud to propose.
I know.
Thank
I
you.
think there's one main problem that the other side has neglected, right? The first problem that they have neglected is that they don't know whether or not the plan that they actually bring to you in front of you is actually feasible. They tell you in the first speech that actually, if we send these scientists into space, if we send these people into space, we can contact these aliens, we can communicate with each other, we can live together. I think this is the first problem. How are you ensuring that this plan will succeed? There's no technology nowadays that can even reach Mars if we're not sure, even or not, we can actually send people to Mars. This is the first problem. I think the first problem that they have neglected. The second problem is the second problem that they actually raised actually in the second speech, right? Into our role. I think the second problem here is that they don't tell you why. Actually, they're not sure whether or not we can survive together. We do not know whether or not these aliens are friendly or not. So we're proud to propose. Firstly, I'll be bringing in a status quo, right? I think that firstly, we should bring a very new status quo and a very clear status quo. That is to say, the colonization is actually
POI.
I said POI is in the chat. However, the too much decolonization outside of space will cause dangerous harms, such as war. And we think that in this case, even if we contact with aliens, there's 100% that there will be war because we are unsure. So we must not view it optimistically. We should view it pessimist, as like not exactly pessimist, but as in a view where we are actually facing an enemy. We should not be a person who is just viewing everything as very good. We should be we are actually in a world which is not actually utopian. So I think resources that are actually ran out, such as fossil fuels and actually, for example, electricity or mineral resources, I think that's very fine. Colonization on Earth is very fine. However, I think that colonization outside space will lead toward indefinite. So firstly, what has the other side basically talked about, right? So they basically tell you that all this kind of contact is very good when you send us all this kind of spaces outside of outer space, and then we solve all the problems and we can come together and peacefully live together. I think there's a very big problem because we're not sure whether or not we can survive together, right? Right? We are actually basically in a very big house, and we are a person who does not want to go outside. If we go outside, right, I think that I said POI is in the chat. So in this case, right, we are actually being we're not sure whether or not we are actually should go out of this house or something like that, right? So we actually have a power thing inside this house. I said POI is in the chat. So I think that currently there's not contacting is very big significant benefits, right? We have the power to dominate, we have the power to actually be in control. We can control ourselves whether or not to go outer space and actually process the relationships between these kind of aliens. Okay. So after rebutting, I'll be also giving two extensions here. Firstly, we'll talk about the contact. It's very dangerous, right? I think that this is actually being echoed by the Prime Minister. I think that contact is very dangerous. It risks destroying Earth. There's an ultimate impact, and it's a very big impact that outweighs every single impact that the other side raises. It risks extinction, right? And that is very dangerous, and it has a 100% impossibility, but not exactly 100%. At least a very high percentage, because we are unsure whether or not these aliens are friendly, right? So alien contact is very risky. Alien contact equals to death. Secondly, we need readiness and we need to prepare, right? We are not going to go outside and just like as the opposition, the government says, like we should not go outside and just wear a suit and then say we are humans and we need contact with them, right? No, this is completely intolerable. I think this is impossible, right? We must firstly prepare militarily. That's by increasing the amount of military forces after acknowledging the alien existence. And secondly, also politically, this is also by ensuring that every single person is prepared for actually alien kind of impact, alien contact or alien impact, right? Good, right? I think that we have like another like theory that is very similar. That is a dark forest theory. After acknowledging that the dark forest in this case actually exists, in this case, if we turn it to aliens, after acknowledging that the aliens do exist, we do know that inside the dark forest, this is especially dangerous, and the aliens are actually, maybe for example, actually superior over us or actually under us, right? Or like maybe the technology is actually more like it's not like it's not superior over us. So obviously, we do acknowledge the dangers of space. We do acknowledge the dangers of the dark forest. In this case, the government on their side, they actually want to like step into the dark forest. They actually want to destroy the Earth, and they actually are volunteering. In this case, as they say, right? They say that we volunteer in order to destroy the Earth and send a spaceship to suicide spaceship into space. Let's say will contacts with aliens. I think that is completely sending people and sending humans to space to die. The second extension here is actually incompatible, right? I think in this case, right, we've seen that many of the kind of resources that are on the Earth are actually out, right? If the resources are out, we need to prepare for excavating all this kind of resources over the world, but not outside of Earth. I think that we are incompatible to actually survive with these kind of aliens. As the Prime Minister's echo, I think we're unable to actually know whether or not these aliens exist or not. Again, let me echo what the Prime Minister has said, right? Not contacting on the benefit is that we humans have the power to control, main control, and the power to control others, right? We need to lead others with dominance, and actually, we need to actually know whether or not these aliens have like more power or superior over us. So in this case, we can lead the whole world to actually do something. We can lead the whole world to actually prepare militarily or politically. That's a benefit, right? That's a benefit. We keep aliens away. We keep that away, right? What's the ultimate impact on our side? I think the ultimate impact, the negative impact on our side is death, right? I think this is a very irreversible. If we contact the aliens, it means equality to war. It's completely irreversible. Have we seen a Navy who's actually escaped nuclear war while being in it? Obviously not, right? So we think that in this case, right, aliens are obviously an entity that is really just like dangerous. I think that's very dangerous. Even not these kind of aliens are actually superior or not superior over us. Okay. Lastly, we actually told you in this speech, right? So firstly, we have told you clearly that the status quo resources already ran out or are already going to be running out. So obviously, we must not explore space in consideration of firstly human safety, and secondly, also the consideration of the whole world. And lastly, we must continue the values and the society development of the whole humanity.
Judge, the opposition side has only talked about the safety of the situation, and they only believe that contacting equals suicide. So in my speech, I'll talk about why we win this debate and why the opposition side's arguments do not stand. So first, I would like to talk about the first speaker of the opposition team. The first speaker has said that if we go out to contact the aliens, we are basically putting the Earth at risk. And according to their side, they believe that contacting the aliens equals suicide. And they'll say, and then in their POI, they also said, "Why are you destroying? Like, do you think that will you destroy the Earth just to contact?" Yeah, that's basically what they said. So first, let me talk about UFOs. UFOs are an object a theory that humans have pictured in their mind, but has not been clearly evidenced that it is actually true. So this means that learning about UFOs could probably just be a human man-made object flying in the sky, or maybe just be a natural sign. So this opposition's point does not stand because they haven't proven how UFOs are actually true, and they haven't proven an alternative of UFOs to learn about these aliens. So secondly, the opposition side has given the point that we didn't tell you how we contact the aliens, but now I'm going to tell you how. now scientists have already figured out a way, and they already have did this method. They sent a signal out to the Earth, and they use the signal to try to contact aliens. This is basically how we contact them. No matter like even like if we contact them, then the opposition side has never talked about the benefits. They only talk about the safety and how contacting equals suicide. This is they have keep on saying this throughout their first and second speeches. So I have to so I will rebut this point, and now I will prove that their argument, this point does not stand. So next I will talk about the clashes in this debate. The first clash is basically how humans will benefit off of contacting aliens.
You are.
Yes.
So how can you be sure that after contacting, the aliens will be like friendly to us and they're going to be in the war?
Yes, even though there is a small chance, but your side has still not proved how and why they will prove war. So basically, how will they attack Earth, and then why will they do it? You never explained that. So I'll continue with my speech. So the first clash of debate is basically how Earth will benefit from this alien from the dark force situation. So look, aliens are, as the opposition has said, aliens are 10 times more advanced as human beings. So look, if we use this opportunity to contact with the aliens, how much will Earth benefit out of? 10 times as more advanced than Earth. Yes.
Why are aliens necessarily more like intelligent than us?
Your side has told our side that aliens are 10 times as intelligent as humans. That's what your first or second speaker has told us. So you have already proven that. So I'll move on with my speech. So look, if we grab this opportunity of 10 times more advanced than Earth, how much would Earth benefit out of? This will be way more than what, and this is way more beneficial than what opposition side has said, learning about things that we can already see. Well, the only example they have given is UFOs, but as I already said, UFOs have no evidence of real aliens. So the second clash is about Earth safety. So we clearly win the clash because opposition can clearly only prove that contacting equals suicide. They haven't thought about anything else than this. They'd be like, and then they're saying that, wow, are you going to destroy Earth just to contact the aliens? That is basically what they said. They have never proven any other situation. So I will prove to you another situation. So look, they might have some conflicts with us, but opposition has told us that everyone that just contacting equals destroying the Earth. As my teammates have said, we might have a bit of conflicts. No, we might have a bit of conflicts in the first weeks or months, but however, we will still adapt because humans are extremely good at adapting. We can prove this by now in the world. Humans are basically everywhere. So this can show how good we are adapting, and this means that we are able to adapt with the aliens, and the case that opposition has told us, which is contacting the aliens equals suicide, does not stand. So in conclusion, based on all of these points, I'm proud to propose.
So first off, clarification, and next rebuttal, finally impact weighing. First, clarification. Let's just first address the government whip and two things he actually got entirely wrong about this debate. First, he said, let's think about another situation. Judge, yeah, this is another situation. However, this other situation is not necessarily more probable than our situation of humanity going extinct. And we do believe that the small percentage possibility of us getting information, which isn't necessarily better than us, is less. It has less of an impact than we actually getting destroyed by aliens because of a war. And second off, he said that our side says that aliens are 10 times more intelligent. Judge, he heard wrong. What we said is, suppose aliens are 10 times more intelligent. It's a suppose. It's an assumption. Okay, next, going on to rebuttal. Firstly, Judge, just look at our percentage. If we don't contact them directly, there is a 50% chance that they contact us, in which 25% that we actually still get the knowledge, and another 25% chance of us actually getting killed. And the second possibility in their side, which is 50% getting extinct, and also a really small chance of actually getting the knowledge. Yeah, I'll take that POI.
The fact that you think that Earth is gonna get destroyed just because we contact alien is just gonna be it's just too over exaggerated, Judge. So therefore, you should not accept that information. That's just over exaggeration, Judge.
Opponents, POI is supposed to be a question, but I'll answer that anyway. So, yes, it might be an exaggeration, but aliens can kill us, right? Aliens can kill us, and aliens might be able to kill us. Therefore, we're not even willing to risk a 1/10,000th of a percentage that aliens might try to destroy Earth, because if that actually happens, it means that the entire race of humanity is wiped out. No matter how much knowledge you think that you can gain from aliens, it's not more than the risk. However, Judge, we're here to prove to you that it's not more than the risk. So going on second, their prime minister said, quote unquote, people won't panic, they will adapt well. Judge, this is entirely improbable. Look at COVID. Look at the panic one virus caused. And this is at a time when we know the viruses exist and we're prepared for a virus. But currently, a huge percentage of the population don't know that aliens exist and don't believe that the aliens exist. If someday, like, the government tells everyone, hey guys, we just discovered aliens exist, we're going to contact them. Judge, imagine the panic it would cause. Third off, Judge, they talk about how the knowledge will be lost, but Judge, knowledge can still exist in our world. We're not contacting them directly, but that doesn't mean that we can't learn from them. We can observe, but we don't need to do direct contact, because direct contact has a great possibility of getting us wiped out. However, observation doesn't have that possibility or that bad thing. Also, in our LO, PM gave us a POI. He said, if humans might develop the right way to contact, why that's still important. First off, humans might not develop the right way to contact. Second off, even if the small percentage of humans actually develop a right way to contact, there's still half of a chance of that small percentage that aliens will kill us. So yeah, that is not worth the risk. So Judge, our opponents are risking the survival of mankind for knowledge which might or might not be beneficial to us. So yeah, don't take their risk. Finally, Judge, they talk about how isn't the possibility of UFOs landing on Earth real? First off, we don't need UFOs landing on Earth to cause a panic. We simply need the government to tell everyone, hey guys, we found an alien organization to create panic. Even if the government doesn't do that, like, the populace will find out anyway, and when they do, it will cause an even greater panic. Second off, yes, the possibility of UFO is low, but if we find aliens, then that possibility goes up a lot. And Judge, look at the motion. It says, in the case that aliens are found. Therefore, we only need to take the percentage of whether or not aliens will contact us instead of the other way around. Finally, they talk about how, like, aliens are really rational and they won't kill us because they think like humans. Judge, they're completely misunderstanding the definition of aliens. Aliens are beings that are alien to us. We don't know anything about them. They might be irrational, sure. They might be rational, but that's the point, Judge. That's the point I'm trying to prove. We can't take that risk, because if they are irrational, then they will cause losses to the Earth. If war actually occurs between the Earth and, like, another alien another alien civilization that might be thousands of miles away, it will mean that both sides suffer losses. And yeah, our opponents say that aliens aren't really humans, so if they die, it doesn't matter. Okay, putting that aside, humans will suffer losses. We will suffer losses even if we win the war. Judge, look at the Second World War, right? We're not even thinking about what kind of mass scale destruction weapons that aliens would cause. Just look at the Second World War. Just look at how many people died on both sides. The Allies won, right? But the Allies still suffered great casualties. So as long as there's a war, many people will die. And the possibility of having a war in our opponent's scenario is really high, but the percentage of possibility of actually getting knowledge from aliens is really low. So Judge, don't take that risk, right? Finally, let's fall back on percentage and impact weighing. Over here, we have we're actually taking a plan of simply observing, not contacting. So we still have like a big percentage, around 80% or so, just a guess, at least a really great percentage of actually learning something, but a really small percentage of actually being destroyed because of aliens contacting us. And second, look at their side, right? They have a huge percentage of aliens actually destroying us because we don't know what aliens are like, right? We just don't know because humans like imagination have limitations. And second off, they also have a percentage of possibility of getting that knowledge, but that percentage is really small because that percentage is lower than 50%. The aliens can either choose to attack us or share the knowledge. In either case, even putting aside the fact that like aliens actually sharing with us is really low, even if we imagine that both sides are the same percentage, then they only have 50% of getting knowledge and 50% of getting killed, whereas we have a much higher percent because we're observing, and by observing we put the choice of whether or not we actually get knowledge from the aliens in our own hands, which is a good thing. Therefore, judge, please vote for us because we ensure better survival for mankind and a higher percentage of getting knowledge. Thank you.
Now, there are a few things that we actually talked about in this debate, right? So in all of our speeches, we talked about a few important things that you must remember, right? Firstly, we tell you that all this kind of alien contact will put us in danger. That's the main summarization of all of our points. We tell you that firstly, the staying calm and preparing and militarily and politically is the best way to solve this problem. Firstly, we told you that the benefit of staying calm and staying ready and actually politically and militarily, it means that we have power to control the leaders around the world. That means that even if the alien contact actually happens, right, we still have the main control over the whole world. Secondly, we tell you that ultimate extinction is the cost of the ultimate cost of actually alien contact, right? Even 1% of all those kind of alien contact will bring devastating impact, right? As I told you, right, extinction almost every single impact that our points have actually talked about. And this impact is irreversible. That brings the biggest impact in this whole debate. Secondly, right, we told you that even if any single war happens, all this war that is currently happening, all because of us, is going to be lost because obviously even if every single side is actually more superior over each other, right? This war is still going to be devastating. It will lead to 100% war, even if the aliens come to us. As the last speaker talked about, right, we don't need aliens to come to our planet, right? It can be us who is going down there, or going up into space, or it can be us actually circling around Earth, and then we find an alien contact, an alien fires against us, right? Any single possibility can happen in any single way, and any single place, and any single time. So there's a very high possibility that alien contact will happen in the next 20 to 50 years or 40 years. Right? There's going to be a lot of problems with this contact. Secondly, right, we actually want to know that actually all this kind of benefits that the other side talk about are really unfeasible. Firstly, as we've talked about that, right? Firstly, tell you that we can send these spaceships into space, right? I think this is again very unfeasible. We disregard that argument because they've not provided you with any plan. Secondly, they tell you the plan about NASA and SpaceX, maybe like other private space companies. Again, they have no plan to space, they have no budget, they have no way, and they have no statistical examples and no examples in history that show you clearly that we can send people to Mars. And even like sending people to the moon, there's only 12 people that have been on the moon, judge, right? So obviously, as we talked about that, there's a lot of holes in their case. They have a lot of holes in all of the arguments. So disregard all of the arguments. Secondly, right, we talked about all this kind of unknown intentions actually are in this kind of aliens, right? We don't know whether or not they actually are friendly or unfriendly. In this case, the only way to solve that is by preparedness and readiness. What is their perspective? What is their attitude? What they want is actually just a very optimistic attitude. They see them as people who actually treat us fairly. They see them as people who creatures that treat us very fairly and actually send us food and actually become partners and actually be allies, right? No, that's impossible. And even if this is possible, it's a very small margin, 0.01. I mean, it's not statistic, but there's very small possibility that will actually happen. So in this case, right, we have like no ability. We should not be the ones that actually be sending the other types of aliens and sending technology or their for example what their values and like that, because that would damage the society development of our own society. That would damage the values of our own society development. In this case, the biggest benefit here is thing called a readiness and dominance. Right? In this case, what is readiness? Readiness is people who are staying here, preparing military, that is increasing military presence, and also increasing political presence, that is calming down the people on Earth. And lastly, dominance. That is by saying that we need to control or at least encourage people around the world to actually stay calm and actually have the power to lead people to actually and resist against these aliens in the Armageddon.
George, take a moment and just relax about this debate, right? The tension here is just too high. And today, as a reply speaker, I'm going to be clearing this all up, right? George, what you hear coming from opposition side of the house is just complete exaggeration, right? They tell you that we're humans, we're put at a risk of getting extinct, right? And we're put at a risk of like dying, since if we contact these so-called aliens, they're just gonna like come and destroy us, right? Judge, that's just overcomplicating things, right? And Judge, they also keep pointing us that we don't give them we don't tell them what is exactly is right method. Then thank goodness there's a speaker called reply, because right here I'm going to tell you what we think the right method is, right? We think that the right method, as our third speaker already told you, that is to contact through like these like calls where like is basically able to like talk to them through far distances, right? As my partner Owen already told you, that these technologies are already being trying to be developed, and they're trying to be in use, right? And second of all, the opposition also they said that they pointed us out that, oh, we can have other ways, right? Our other ways include like just learning from UFOs, right? Judge, there's really no such thing called so-called thing called UFO, right? Because there's really no evidence that these UFOs appear to be has real aliens in these UFOs. So therefore, I think that the fact that they told us to use UFOs just doesn't really make it flawed, because I think that UFOs, there's, as my third partner already told you, that UFOs there's no clear evidence that there's UFOs. And Judge, they also tell you that we should not try to take that risk, right? Judge, as I already said in my first speech, that we're not trying to force the people to do that, right? Judge, as I already said in my burden clearly, that we're trying to let them do it, but we're like convince them to do it, but you don't have to do it if you don't want to, right? Because as I already stated clearly in my burden, that we're not forcing them to do it. So Judge, I think that the opponents have misinterpreted us in that point, right? And second of all, the humans will go extinct and they will cause like chaos, right? As I already said, that is not good, because humans will not just go extinct because of a alien interaction, right? And plus, who knows if there really is aliens? As I already said in my speech, that even if we don't find these aliens, I think that in the next century, or in the next 2 centuries, right? I think that humans are going to be able to like develop ways to actually detect these aliens. So Judge, in conclusion, you should not judge. In conclusion, this is why we should win, because Judge, we are the ones that have clear mechanization, and we give you both the comparative, right? On the other hand, the opposition only talk about the harms, right? They just talk about how bad it's going to be, but they actually never say anything good. So therefore, Judge, I think that they're over exaggerating it, and you should like vote for a side who's like talking about real logic here. So therefore, please vote for the proposition side of today's house. Thank you for listening.